It's mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there. He's punching me in the stomach like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Ochinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ochinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
On the Spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
you heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you gonna bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it.
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Monday, December 11th. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I did. It's kicking my ass today.
It is.
But you know what? Nobody cares. Work harder. That's what we're doing. We're here. We brought our personality. We're ready to go. A lot of big things happened over the weekend. Obviously, number one on the sports docket today is Jaden Daniels is the latest Heisman Trophy winner at LSU. LSU couldn't hit let's give him a shout out to Jaden Daniels. Not only is he a Heisman Trophy winner, his draft stock is skyrocketing, right? Now, if you watch the draft, if you watch the Heisman ceremony, it was great. They draw it out. It's a long deal, right? It's an hour or so, I think, an hour long or whatever.
7, and then at 7:50 you get your announcement.
You get the announcement, right? They showed the graphic on amount of votes that each player got. Obviously, Jayden won with the most first-place votes. Michael Penix was second. But then if you go all the way down to the bottom of it, to the fine print, it says Heisman Trophy based off fan vote, Michael Penix. Why would you have that on?
Just to let people
Why would you have that on?
It's one vote. It counts.
That is a poll, basically. They put on there, hey, who would you rather vote? And I'm sure a bunch of people could vote multiple different times. So fan vote doesn't count. Jaden Daniels got significantly more first place votes. And Jordan Travis, look, 5th in the Heisman voting. Good for him. Good for him getting some votes. Marvin Harrison, the fact that he got 20 first place votes kind of blows my mind.
When does it like?
Where do you think those people live?
His family, I think. Everybody lives in the Harrison household. But
And J.J. McCarthy got 1 vote. Take that for what it is.
1 vote. His mom probably did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or JJ himself. He didn't have a
I
vote.
wish they
didn't
start
have a
putting
vote.
demographics on those votes, like where they
Where?
are geographically, at least. I should say.
Well, I mean, that's
I would love to see it, just so it could be, just go ahead and throw that out there.
yeah. Look, I know who for sure did not vote for Jaden Daniels. That's Joe Klatt. He voted for Michael Penix. He already announced that. But congratulations to Jaden, Heisman Trophy ceremony. Was great. It was nice to watch it. I got to watch it with all of my family. We had my mom's side of family Christmas, so it was great. We'd been drinking for about 6 hours straight, so we were in a good
Pre-gaming
spot.
the Heisman.
We were prime ready for that. LSU went a lot of years. I don't want to do the math. Since Billy Cannon without having a Heisman Trophy winner.
Is that 58?
58?
Yeah.
Or 59. Which year did he win the Heisman? 'Cause I know they won the national championship in 58. I think he won it the year after.
He wanted,
In the Heisman. I'm pretty sure that was what it is because I always thought that was kind of weird. Regardless, 58 or 59. And then you go all those times, 59, and you go all those years, no Heisman Trophy winner, then Joe Burrow transfers in, wins the Heisman in 19, pretty much the consensus Heisman Trophy winner that year. And then you go fast forward another 4 years, you get your second Heisman Trophy in 4 years, which is at a position in Baton Rouge that
So they
has
say.
been much maligned
So they say.
over the course of the last 20 years. We had 2 in the last 4. So
The real question is do we, the next 2 year, second year guy that we have as the starter, do we just assume that it's Heisman season or?
well, hopefully we're about to find that out because we're gonna have another guy coming up right waiting in the wings.
Well,
that
we'll
he
find
has
out
to
next
get.
year. That's the
No, we got-
if history repeats
Yeah,
itself.
if history repeats itself, but not a transfer. So the last 2 are transfers in. This next one hopefully is not a transfer.
Yeah.
And he's already currently there, and he's building that chemistry with the wide receivers who are going to win him the Heisman, who probably should have won the Blitnikoff, which we had one that should have won it, didn't win it, gave it to Marvin Harrison, career achievement trophy.
1 vote.
1 vote.
Your vote matters. Remember that.
Won by 1 vote.
1 vote.
It matters.
So hit the polls.
Well, you don't get to vote,
No.
but
In the totality of
somebody
everything.
maybe didn't submit their vote. Maybe they got too busy and didn't submit it. Man, they cost this man a trophy.
He wants it.
Yeah, hell yeah, he wants it. Now, hopefully it's revenge season. He goes out and has about 150 yards in the first quarter against Wisconsin. And
He comes back to school.
no, he ain't gonna some people ask about Brian Thomas coming back to school. I don't think that's it. I don't think he's coming. Obviously, I think he's gone in the draft. I think he had 2 of a year to come back.
That's another thing about the Malik Neighbors conversation is he also split, 14 touchdowns with Brian Thomas?
But here's someone made that argument for Marvin Harrison. Hey, you had the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback throwing you the football, and you had another guy to take attention off of you. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a shitty quarterback throwing the football, only wide receiver really on the team, and he did all that stuff. Okay, great. But he also had 4 games where he was kind of subpar. Look, there's arguments on both sides. I believe Marvin Harrison Jr. was a career achievement award for him.
That doesn't matter. Like, the numbers are still the numbers, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
I'm with you. So, shout out to all the guys who won the awards. Obviously, we're in bowl season. We're in recruiting season. We're going to get to all this conversation on LSU football. This is December with LSU men's basketball being kind of down and
Red Panda.
the NBA being right in the middle. Oh, yeah, how'd Red Panda do?
Well, I don't know. I don't think they didn't put out the advanced metrics on her.
Yeah,
but
I didn't know if anybody,
I think
wasn't there.
Carl the Cat was there, and I think he said she was in rare form and went
she
perfect.
didn't drop any balls?
I don't think so.
Was it you that said the over-under at 1.5?
1.5.
Yeah, I
but
think
I'll have
you
to get
lost that.
confirmation. Yeah.
Well, if Caesars did what they did to me
Just now.
then you wouldn't have been able to bet it, and you'd been fine. You would have dodged a bullet. Now tonight, everything I was trying to bet hits, and I wasn't able to parlay it all. I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
Hit that 1-800 number.
No.
Call customer
I
service.
think that's only the gambling issue. If you're gambling, The gambling issue. But we're going to get into this conversation. It's December. It's kind of a down period right now in sports. But there's still some news happening over the course of the weekend if you were paying attention. Even if you aren't a baseball fan, this definitely caught your eye. Shohei Ohtani signed a 10-year, $700 million deal. Now, if you aren't familiar with how professional baseball works, that's guaranteed. There's no guaranteed money, and then you can opt out, or there's no hey, if you don't play well, we can cut you like football. No. $700 million, fully guaranteed, 10 years. I believe Shohei is only 27 or 28, which means at the end of his career at 38, which he could potentially just still play again, even after that, he $700 million guaranteed, $70 million a year. I think the craziest part of this whole deal is how it's structured.
Don't do that.
But I'm going to wait.
There you go.
And we're going to talk about the structure of this thing later on in the show. But $700 million, the highest paid player in the history of Major League Baseball, I think is very much warranted. Obviously, he had his second Tommy John surgery, which I thought it was his first because I thought the first one he had a strained tendon and he rehabbed it, but I was wrong.
It was Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper had Tommy John. But Shohei did have a strained tendon, rehabbed it, and then had Tommy John anyway. So this is his second one. But he has, when healthy, has been one of the more dominant pitchers in baseball. And when he's not healthy on the mound, he is one of the best hitters in baseball. So $700 million, very much warranted. Plus, we're not going to get into it because I'm going to let my friend talk about it later on the show.
Yes.
LSU, women's basketball played ULL this weekend and won 83-53. Started off slow. Within the news, right? But I think it was following the game. Or was it before the game when they announced that Kateri Poole was no longer with the team?
After the game in the press conference.
It was after the game in the press conference. It was announced by
First Lady.
Kim Mulkey, First Lady, that Kateri Poole is no longer with the team for reasons that were not made public. And here's the deal: I think I think some of the media, with everything that is happening in college sports, NIL, transfer portal, a lot more visibility on these athletes, more of a, hey, you're a professional type feel. I feel like some people feel like they're entitled to more information than needed. I believe that Coach Kim Mulkey is getting some pushback because, she's not giving the information that a lot of the media want. And I'm on her side with this because there's some things that happen in the locker room. There are some things that do not need to be publicized for one reason or another. And I think we've gotten really comfortable in, having access and being able to, maybe get answers and have conversations that weren't as readily available 15 years ago. And they are now, and I think people think that, just because that's the case, you should get the information. Every time you ask a question, you should get this information, and that's not the case. You don't go up into your boss's suite in the real world and ask him, hey, what are we doing? What's our strategy on this merger with this company? And he don't have to tell you that, right? There's things that don't need to be vocalized or said, and that's okay.
And that's even as an employee, much less somebody that's a member of the
not
media.
Part of it,
right?
Right? It's okay that she doesn't.
Hey, Bernie Madoff, what's your next
Yeah.
move?
Yeah. Hey, what trades are you? No, it's that's just there's some things that don't need to be publicized, and that's okay. And so I'm on her side with that. Obviously there's a lot of people in the portal right now and recruiting, and we can talk ad nauseum about that. Really, nothing has happened in that realm yet. Things are going to start happening over the next couple of weeks, but we're here on this Monday, ready to go. Lloyd has brought his personality. How was your weekend?
Great. I did nothing.
Ooh,
So,
wow, that's good.
fantastic.
Listen.
with you, cuz.
Hey, listen to me.
Great.
I wish I did nothing.
You got to find a day for you to do nothing.
I know. Whoa. Oh, no. That wasn't your smoothest move.
No. I get nervous around these cameras. They're big. They're expensive. I shouldn't touch them.
I do need a day. I didn't have a day. Jay, how was your weekend? You did nothing as well.
I did absolutely nothing.
Tell you what, the picture you post on Instagram, great
man.
vibe.
On my story. You remember,
I
we
mean,
don't really do the grid thing.
Yeah, your story. I'm a story guy.
Yeah, that skyline was pretty special.
I mean, that was pretty cool.
I kind of missed it, like the entirety of it. I just happened to turn around and look one. I'm like, oh my god,
pretty solid.
Like that. So,
pretty solid.
Had to kind of capture that. It was
Um,
I made sure I stayed back so I can keep this phone in one piece too. So that was good too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
Good.
you went through that rough patch.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a rough patch. It was a rough day.
Rough day.
Hey, but they dropped his water bottle here.
Not good.
Hey, Saints are tied for first.
Left the door open all night.
Nah.
That's okay. This would be the time that you're gonna do that.
Spider-Man can get in. It don't really matter.
Yeah, it's too cold for Spider anyway. Saints are in tie for first.
Don't tell that to Derek Carr.
We have a lot of hope.
Let's be honest with you, it's a highly competitive division.
Highly competitive.
Listen,
people may talk about it being 6 and 7. I know there's not a team with a winning record in the
they're all
division.
scratching and clawing.
It's because they're
Gritty.
beating each other. You know, that's the problem. They're beating each other. They're also losing to other teams.
Iron sharpening iron.
Yeah, you know, it's tough.
Getting you
It's
ready for
tough.
the playoffs.
Baker Mayfield had a big comeback for the Saints this weekend. Needed that. It's looking like that New Year's Eve game could potentially be the decider for the division to host a playoff game.
It's going to be a 8-9 team or a 9-8 team hosting the playoffs for sure out of the division.
Don't sleep on it, though. It has happened to the Saints before. Whenever the Beastquake happened, whenever the Saints did not win their division.
Yeah, the other way around.
Right,
yeah.
So the Saints could maybe it's in the cards where you get a little good fortune back on your side.
Look, when the two Super Bowl championships the Giants won, they squeaked in there, barely got it. They didn't have a losing record, but they're pretty close to 500.
I think they were 9-7 both
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Right. So
Talk about an all-time
possible.
Vegas beat.
I just can't even imagine the actual look of what would it look like if the Saints were in the Super Bowl this year?
Oh no.
No.
I can't envision it. I can't see it.
Is that how the Giants felt? Like those years they
But at
won?
least you had Eli and you had pieces around. I guess.
I mean,
Plaxico Burress.
I would rely more on Eli than what we got right now.
were you saying that before his first one? That's the real question. Not you. But was that the words before his first one?
Yeah.
Well, then why were they 9-7, Coach?
I don't know why they're 9-7, but
got hot at the right time.
I feel like I had more confidence in Eli
And
that
Tom
time than
Coughlin?
right now, and it's not even necessarily just because Eli or Derek Carr. I had more confidence in the team and the play calling and what was going on. I mean, it is anemic, the types of play calls that we have. Anemic.
Should show you how bad Carolina is right now because the Saints look like trash.
We had
for 50 minutes of that game.
37 yards passing before the pass to A.T. Perry. We doubled our passing yards in one play.
And they still won by 24.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for Bryce after watching that.
Also,
do you know Derek Carr's final numbers?
He was
127.
he had a good completion percentage.
Oh, Bo Nix formula.
Yep. Well, no, because Bo Nix, the formula of Bo Nix, you
get
throw
some
underneath
yak.
and they get a lot of yak. This one, it was not a lot of yak. High completion percentage. I think 130 yards passing and 2 touchdowns.
119 at 69% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Interception in which he tried to blame. He said the ball was tipped. He was like, it wasn't tipped. And then Eric McCoy had some choice words after the sack where they got in each other's ear on the sideline or on the field.
On the way to the side.
Yes.
They hadn't even made it there.
I'm curious to see what happened. Curious, never going to know. But, was it Derek Carr started blaming McCoy started blaming. Was it a mix-up on protection? Was it a mix-up on Derek Carr not giving the right protections and Eric McCoy saying one thing and Derek Carr doing another thing? And that's what it felt like.
This deep into the season, if you're still – and,
no doubt.
it'd be one thing if it just started happening. It'd be like, that's kind of ugly. But they've been doing this for a while. So it feels like to me when they go through the week, these different rooms that they're breaking off into that are teaching and going through stuff, it don't seem like it's one unified statement that's going around because they just don't seem on the same page throughout the game. And it's been like that for a couple months now, I feel like. We've been watching what seemingly feels like it's uncharacteristic, because I've never really seen him do it before, but we've been watching him just lash out at people left and right all damn day. And it's crazy watching that go on right now.
Right, and you didn't see that. You didn't see that in well, it was Oakland, but you didn't see that for the Raiders, right? And
there was a time where he was literally the brick that held the whole thing together in Oakland or Vegas, if you will.
But I would also contend that they sat him out the last 4 or 5 games of the year before he came over.
No, he bounced. He told the team at that point when they said they was going to bench him, he set him out, and he didn't come to the facility anymore.
But I'm saying there's that's just more things around Derek Carr that maybe we're seeing transpire. They probably didn't want him around the facility. I mean, if you're not going to be the starter and you were, like, I understand what you're saying, that he played like he was the starting quarterback and kind of that thing was falling apart at the seams. And then they're like, all right, we're good on you. Like, you don't want to play here. We're not going to play you. And then you not be around. And now you see how, and we were talking about this before the show, like, okay, finger pointing can happen a lot, but when there's one person that continues to be in the middle of the finger pointing, you kind of start to wonder maybe it might be him.
Well, here's the thing. Did it look any different before Derek Carr was there?
Right.
The product that you watched on the field.
Right. I'm with you.
So it sounds like to me, we could throw it on Derek Carr if we want to, but it sounds like to me it's coming from over that a little bit.
I agree with that because
it's been looking anemic for 3 years now.
Yeah. And
Derek's been there for 4 months.
I do agree with that. Like, I think that.
And that could be part of it, too. It could be a part of the frustration where this isn't really what I signed up for. I thought this was going to be a Saints offense,
Look,
so we got pieces everywhere.
Well, here's the deal. Everybody is competitive, right? They're professional athletes. They are paid to be competitive human beings. And nobody wants to lose. Nobody wants to lose in a season where they feel like, talent-wise, they're as good as anybody in the division. Right? They should be better than they are. And they're not, and they're losing games, and they're getting it's the same things over and over again, so they're all frustrated. And so that's okay to be frustrated. I don't know if they're frustrated at each other. I think it's more frustrated about the results of what's happening and how they're getting to those results. And I think that there's a disconnect between scheme and play calling and everybody on the same page, and that's not good. But I'm with Jared. Like, to blame it completely on Derek Carr is not fair because this was happening before he got there.
And I'm not absolving him of any of the blame. Like, it's, when the camera keeps panning to him, it keeps finding to him having some blow-ups. There is something on him. That's pretty obvious. I'm just not willing to say, hey, it all starts and ends with him in this situation.
I just think he's got it's a weird, like, culture, personality fit. Like, you see him, he threw for 119 yards, and then, like, the game-winning, I guess, they put the game-away drive. He comes off the field like he just won the Super Bowl. It's like, read the room, brother. Like, you're just not that person, and you're not the most liked person in New Orleans. And
I don't think he's ever been the most liked person, though.
Anywhere
not that he's been hated, but I'm not sure he was ever like the people's champ, if you will.
Yeah, I think
right.
a lot of.
And I think part of that's because, like, you have to, like, try to inject
yourself.
some sort of energy or something, right? Like, you can't throw a touchdown pass and be like, oh, whatever. Like, winning a game is still winning a game, right? And so, like, you can't just.
Well, it was bigger than what it was. It feels like he's hearing a lot of what New Orleans is saying about him, and it's like on this, wanted to be like on a revenge tour, and it's just not going to work out in your favor whenever you rub the people of New Orleans the wrong way. They care so much about. It's almost like LSU football in New Orleans for the professional franchise where they treat it like a college team. They live and die with every play, and if your quarterback isn't on board with what the culture of the city is, and it feels like even Alvin Kamara, who is the heart and soul of the team, like, he scores a touchdown, runs, and sits on the bench. Yeah. Like, he's trying 110% to get this thing to where it needs to be, but you can tell everybody's visibly frustrated. Jimmy Graham has 5 catches and 3 touchdowns, and you can't score in the red zone?
4 catches and 3 touchdowns, all 4 in the red zone.
Well, right. And once again,
what a play by Jimmy Graham.
But once again, that goes to who? How many times have we seen him in the red zone and he's not on the field?
Well, he hasn't been active for majority of the season. He's been inactive. It hadn't even been
healthy scratch.
That's my point. Yeah. Like, we're not even going to use him. So, like, that's where. And for how early, I think we remember talking about this very, very early. But the first time we saw him, like, go crazy on the field and kind of lash out, we were like, damn, it's kind of early for that. And I'm like, to me, in my mind, I feel like he sees this opportunity as like, hey, if this goes bad, I may be holding a clipboard for the rest of my career if I'm going to still be in uniform. And that's not what I want. And that's not where I think I'm at. So I think he came into this situation with a very heightened sense of urgency. And I'm not sure that was met or understood or is reciprocated, if you will, from that staff. And it's kind of all crumbling. Day by day by day, week by week by week.
It comes from the top down. If you play anybody but the Carolina Panthers, I don't know if the Saints going to win Sunday. Like, it felt like you very much needed to play that team in that environment.
Like I said, I feel bad for Bryce watching that game because the Saints looked awful.
Awful.
And they still won by 24.
And the Saints could have run the ball every play and won that football game. And instead, you kind of shoehorn Derek Carr in there, and it just looks so clunky at times. And I don't think that it's not all on Derek Carr.
Well,
I just don't like the way he handles being the quarterback for the Saints. That said, you know how I feel about the current staff, especially on the offensive side of the football, where I would be frustrated too. Like, he's worked with some bad OCs, bad coaches.
Right.
Where you have Josh
This was
McDaniel.
essentially free agency for him, and he picked this spot.
Right.
It's turned out to being this.
I feel like he was sort of bill of goods a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, look, and we talk about, like, you can't run they're running the ball fine. Start the game.
7 yards
Right.
pop.
When you get inside of the 20,
That's the Derek Carr show.
but there's got to be, like, they're going to start, okay, hey, they're running the football. Things are going to start to tighten up. You've got to do something outside of just running the football.
Throw a pick.
And look, the minute they get inside the 20, first run, no yards. Then at some point, you got to figure out how to get them out of the box, and that comes with the quarterback. Windows are tighter, decisions are quicker. You have to understand what you're trying to do. Someone's got to make a play, and that hasn't been the case. Now, they played a bad team. I think they scored 3 or 4 times in the red zone this Sunday, which is great. But
that team is pretty good defensively. They just it's a struggle.
Well, the wheels are starting to fall off on the defense. That's what I'm saying. If you don't play Carolina, I don't know what that defense looks like.
Yeah.
But, the drive, you could feel the tension through the television of the drive whenever the Saints, I think they got a quick turnover, march it down, get inside the 20, settle for a field goal, then Groupie misses the field goal,
yep.
like the bad snap, or the holder
They'll
didn't
spin.
Yeah, didn't spin it. And it's like, Groupie, you're from 23 yards away. Like, brother, knuckle it in there. But that's kind of, you could feel like the dome kind of caving in on itself. Like, people are starting to turn, and they almost want the Saints to play bad so they can wash their hands of all this. But you could wake up.
you're not washing your hands. Newsflash.
That's what I'm saying. You could wake up on January 1st and be like, the Saints won the division and are going to the playoffs with a home game.
Right. But regardless if that happens or not, you ain't washing your hands. Derek Carr's here. Okay? He's here for at least another year. He's your starting quarterback.
Yeah. Right. That's
Like, so
And
get used to it and figure out how to make him as successful as you can make him.
Dennis Allen's only hope, like wish and a prayer, is that they do win the division and get to the playoffs and don't get embarrassed.
I still
And then they
hold
could bring
out.
in an offensive coordinator.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I still hold out and think that there is a decent chance that Dennis Allen still has the job next year.
Me too.
I don't think. Unfortunately, I
Can't.
don't think the
He
offensive coordinator stays.
He can't.
With
Pete
that being
Carmichael
said.
has to be gone. I was hoping.
Pete Carmichael should be gone 3
I
weeks
was hoping, and I said earlier, probably about 6 or 7 weeks ago, that Joe Brady would come back and be the OC and do stuff just because of familiarity. And, and obviously I'm a little biased because I saw what he did at LSU. Obviously I know he had his first stint in the NFL. If you aren't familiar with the coaching carousel in the NFL, not many coaches get one stint and are slam dunk hires the first time. Majority of the NFL coaches right now have been fired before. Majority of them. And so I was like, okay, he had an opportunity to be an OC. Now he's a quarterback's coach in Buffalo. Well, now he's now the play caller in Buffalo. And since he's been the play caller there, their offense has been way better. Josh Allen's been better. He throws to the running backs more. And I was like, damn, this would be a good –
Yeah, they utilize their actual weapons more.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, this would be a good fit, but it seems like he's going to probably be the guy there, which is unfortunate, but good for him. There's too much offense. And I say that. Brings up my other point. I want to say there's too much offense in the NFL, and there's too many offensive minds. This year's been one of the lowest scoring seasons in the NFL in a long time. It has been sloppy. It hasn't been great. I think defenses have caught up. I think they're a lot more exotic on their defensive looks and their pressures and the way they disguise coverages. And I think some of these quarterbacks are feeling the repercussions of that. And I think some of these quarterbacks and some of these offensive coordinators now got to figure out, okay, how do we put ourselves in a position to score more consistently? It feels like there's a lot of stuff going on offensively, and they're great from 20 to 20.
I think,
and then you get in the red zone and you don't score points.
Yeah, I think I think the league has gotten to a point where I really do believe it's a lot of that window where it's the defensive side has caught up to kind of I won't say the new wave of offense, but kind of how to handle all of that stuff a little bit. And now it's these like younger, kind of more innovative, kind of more let me work with who you already are instead of turning you into something we want you to be kind of guys that are finding ways to kind of stay ahead of the curve right now when it comes to calling plays and helping these guys out. And I think that's what it's going to take. And you don't, like I said, you don't necessarily have to be younger, but I do think somehow, some way, some of those guys on the offensive side of the ball they have a head up right now on kind of how to run that side of the ball.
Yeah, it's been interesting because, I mean, offenses have been down all year.
Yeah, if you're the Saints, you have no Michael Thomas, you have no Taysom Hill. It just feels like you're kind of grasping at straws.
Well, even with that, you had best one of the better offensive games of the year for yourself.
I think that's more Carolina than the Saints. I think
they had 200 yards offense and scored 3 touchdowns offensively. Now, here's what's crazy is like they had 2 big turnovers. They had the interception, it was initially called a sacked fumble. Then became no. It was initially called an interception. Then it got changed to a sack fumble.
Yep.
Right? So they took off the interception, right? So now it's a sack fumble. And then the punt block was a punt block for a touchdown.
I thought the punter died.
Got turned into.
God.
I thought
it was not a punt block.
Because he took it off.
It was a fumble because he never punted it. So he dropped the ball. And so it was a fumble recovery for a touchdown, which is pretty nuts. Like, that's 2, like, crazy plays that –
Alvin Kamara sent him a jersey, too?
And that's one of the hardest I've ever seen a punter get hit. I was like, oh, he might not get up.
Bro, he came right from the middle and nobody touched him.
I mean, imagine you trying to swing your leg and kick someone like that diving full at. That's pretty much what he was doing. Like, he was trying to kick the ball, and he got absolutely
Didn't get it.
obliterated.
I mean, that's tough.
That was bad. That was a rough one.
He got up, though.
It was a free runner from, like, three people over from the center. Not good.
Was just watching I've made myself hate watch that game because I kind of wanted to see.
I'll watch them.
I kind of wanted to see where this would go if it went south.
But it kind of lets you know, too, where Carolina is right now, right? Like, they were bad last year. They fire the head coach. They give the interim job to that Steve Wilkes guy. He makes them a decent team. They kicked off Chosen Anderson, said, hey, see, if you don't want to do it, you can leave in the middle of the game. Kicked them out of here, kind of put some discipline in their place. They say, hey, we don't want you as a guy. We'll go get another guy. Steve Wilkes goes to –
Chosen's not very chosen right now.
Not very chosen. He's very much sitting and choosing to watch the plays from the side. But that guy goes to San Francisco and basically takes over that defense and literally has them right back where they were. So, obviously, he was a good choice. They didn't like it. It's crazy. Kind of shows you where that place is right now.
And they
Hedge
would
fund.
have the number 1 overall pick in the draft
if your owner
they
doesn't
didn't trade it.
Your owner was all up in your board meetings.
So now the number 1 overall pick, which would be another asset that you could give to your quarterback, maybe go get if there is a top-end left tackle, if there's someone that you wanted offensively to add to the mix.
Which they desperately
There's
need.
a lot of people in the draft that you probably could help.
Don't have a pick.
But you don't have the pick. That pick goes to the Chicago Bears.
And then there's a lot of smoke on Instagram. I have no idea how real this was to have, becoming true, but that the Saints were interested in Justin Fields in the offseason. That's where you were on Friday and Saturday. Sunday comes, and now it kind of has fizzled a little bit. But there's a lot of, the Saints might be kicking the tires on Justin Fields because –
You mean last year or this year?
This year. Because the Bears have the number 1 overall pick, and if they want to move Fields –
We don't have enough to give them for that. I don't think.
Well, if you're getting rid of him anyway, and then you get a guy on a rookie deal that you don't have to worry about the Derek Carr situation so much. David Carr is also at a phenomenal just the Carr family. I would love to be at Thanksgiving. They can't just sit down and have an amicable conversation.
No, they sound like they'd be very salty at football.
Oh, the last family of football.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks,
Jaden Daniels.
So Mel Kiper.
He's off the potato pie.
Mel Kiper
right back in the pot for the popular vote at this point, huh?
Mel Kiper, in my mind, is just like, I think he forgot how to evaluate guys.
No,
I don't think
honestly,
he never. I don't think he ever.
You know what I really wish they would do with Mel is they let Mel come in at the beginning of the year and tell you who the guys are, and then they let him come back in at like the end of the year. Nah, Mel, how about you keep telling us week after week after week, so we can watch you kind of flip from he's a 4th round guy to being like, okay, I can go ahead and eat my words. I think he's a 1st round guy. The simple fact that you don't have to do that all year publicly, and you just get to hop back in when it's all rote.
Part of my issue,
And
part
he's
of my
behind the paywall.
Yeah, and part of my issue is you are supposed to be an evaluator. You evaluate what you see on the field. You evaluate, yeah, of course, stats are good, but you also evaluate projection. You evaluate the way he goes through it. Like, that's what you're supposed to do as an evaluator. By saying he's a 4th, if you just said Jaden Daniels was a 5th, 6th, 7th rounder last year, fine. I'd agree. But then you watch him middle of the season doing what he's doing, and you still say he's a 4th rounder even after everything he's done, and now he wins the Heisman. All of a sudden he jumps up to a number 2 overall prospect in the draft, which why? Because he won the Heisman?
Popular consensus.
Let's evaluate throughout the course of the year. And look, maybe to Mel Kiper's defense, he was like, well, middle of the year I did have him as a number 2 overall prospect.
Yeah, but
we just never came out with the mock.
Nobody heard it.
Right.
That's my point.
Right.
Like,
And
that's
if you-
literally my point.
And if you're of the ilk of we're relying on Mel Kiper's word for the draft, you need to find some sand to bury your
And I
head
don't think
in. Like,
look,
maybe in the 80s,
teams
there's a
teams
time.
are not.
No, it's not teams.
He's
but
an entertainer at this point.
He gets so much credit for what draft boards are throughout everywhere, and I don't think people don't understand like how much of draft boards and how much of recruiting and how much of these circles work together and how guys go about doing this thing. Like, if you think all of these recruiting services got all the funds to fly across the country everywhere to go see all these places in person, all these people in person, you're crazy. So guess what they do? They reach out to people they know,
Right.
or they rely on people they know's work. And that becomes the thing, and the hot things catch on, and that's how they go.
Well, here's the deal. You have Mel Kiper's big board, right? Like, oh, these guys fall. People always have to realize that these teams are drafting based off of need, right? So if a team is getting has a 23rd pick in the draft, and they needed a edge rusher or an offensive lineman or a linebacker or somebody, right? And maybe that guy isn't in the top 30 overall prospects. Maybe that guy is 45th prospect or 2nd rounder projection. Well, the chance of them getting that guy in the 2nd round may not be good because they may not have a pick until the end of the 2nd round. Or, that guy's probably going to get taken before. Like, that's all goes into consideration too. So, like, I know we're not talking about the draft, but, there's a bunch of reasons for, why teams do things and where they're ranked on the team's draft board. But Jaden Daniels, his stock has continued to rise throughout the course of the year, right? Obviously, based off of performance, based off of the adjustments he made over the season, over the offseason, based off of, him being able to dissect the defense, go through his reads at a very efficient pace, and make the throw and deliver the plays. Like, that is the reason why he's moved up draft boards. Mel Kiper has him now as a number 2 overall quarterback prospect behind Caleb Williams, which Caleb Williams has been, the guy for 3 years since he got to college. Jaden Daniels is now right behind him. He has overtaken Drake May. I'll guarantee in combines, Drake May is going to have people, oh my God, similar to what like Will Levis did last year, right? And I think Will Levis has done really well for himself as a rookie quarterback, but you're going to see Drake May kind of ascend on the draft board a little bit based off of pure arm talent, that kind of stuff. I'm not 100% sold on him yet, but Jaden's number 2 overall quarterback prospect, which means seems like he's going to be a top 10 pick. Which means, well, hopefully not, but he could be playing in the division against the Saints, which would not be great. Would not love that. Would not love that.
Or the Saints could take him. That's what I'm saying. I always hate watching the Saints.
They're not going
I know
to.
they're not going to draft, but we went through this on Friday.
You said this. You said the Saints could take him. Like, we keep putting that out there. Tell me the scenario that would allow the Saints to take him. Like, what could they possibly do that would actually work?
Lose.
That doesn't mean anything. that you're still going to have to pay another quarterback on the roster $50 million. Are you going to pay another one number one money and then watch him sit? That doesn't happen these days. So give me the scenario that's going to allow them to take him.
It would. This is why I don't think it's going to happen. But if it were to happen, I think you're at a point where the Saints fan base is on tilt. And it feels like it's one of the few situations where the Saints feel like a little bit like the Oakland A's did, like during the baseball season, where they're on the fringe of revolting against the fan base.
That's
if they
false.
bring back
That's
Pete
false.
Carmichael, they bring back Dennis Allen and draft a defensive tackle.
No chance.
You compare to Oakland Athletics?
Yeah. That's what it, dude.
15 years, and this is how you talk. Huh? Good
Oakland
God.
Athletics?
I'm saying that's what it feels like in the Dome. That's what people are saying. That it's like,
Okay, so
it's
then-
borderline at a
but-
fever pitch
but-
of we
but
want to
listen,
see something different.
For
so you
sure.
asked me to pitch
you're not
an
being
idea.
realistic. But you're not being realistic because let's
Oh,
be
I know
honest.
I'm not.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. give me the window of this actually being something that's real that can happen.
That you have to fire Dennis
That's
Allen.
never going to happen. If you're literally listening to the fans, you'll be right there with them next. So that's not going to happen. So how could it happen?
I don't think they're going to draft him. I don't think
they are either.
I
I'm just saying.
think if the Saints really want, like, they have not done very well recently on their first round picks, and that's been an issue. And if you want something different, that difference is a new offensive coordinator. That difference is getting somebody else on the offensive line maybe to solidify that. You don't need another receiver, I don't believe, in the draft in the first round.
You may need one, I think.
Yeah, but not in the first. I don't think you have to go first round pick to get them.
Malik Neighbors.
I mean, Malik would be great, but I just don't think that's a necessary unless you're going to say we're going to go get offensive line in free agency, right? Which that's another issue because you know how that is with the free agency market and salary cap and all of those types of things. But even winning the division, the Saints are probably going to have. Well, I guess it depends on where they go make it in the playoffs.
So you have
Because you make the playoffs, you're going to
right.
Be-
Exactly.
It won't be by the record.
Yeah, it
for
won't
the-
be a record, right.
So you have the Giants for the Saints. The remaining schedule for the Saints is the Giants at home, at the Rams. Then you have the last two games that will ultimately decide your season. It feels like Saints at Bucks, Falcons at Saints, and so
So
those,
the Falcons at Saints the last game of the year.
Yeah.
yes, for what feels like could probably be for the division. You have Baker Mayfield lead a comeback it looked awful all game, and then leads a comeback down the field for the Bucks to get a win. But if you saw Dennis Allen in the team huddle or the locker room after the game, he's like, "Time for the division lead, boys!" Like trying to rally the troops.
All right, so let's go through this. 6 and 7. They're 6 and 7. They have 4 games left.
Yep.
Right. They have the Giants at home.
Should win.
Should win. Giants
Under.
defense is better, but they should win. Now Saints have not. What scares me about that, Saints haven't really stopped the run very well. All the Giants got is the running game, right? And they got a good one.
We're gonna find that out tonight.
Good
also.
running. Okay, so let's just say that's a win. That should be a win. At home. At LA, loss.
They look good again. At least
So you're saying they got to go 3-1, basically? That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, they got to win. They got to win the Giants. They got to beat the Giants, and they got to win the 2 division games. That would put them at 9 and 8.
and
I
division
think
champs,
one
right?
of these 3 teams is going to find a way to go 3-1 or better over the last 4. I think 2-2, you're out. See you.
Yeah,
That's what I think.
yeah. 8-9, not gonna do it. I don't know what the other team's schedules are.
Because you
have it
got to
right
think
here.
of it though. To go 8-9 means that the other 2 both went 1 and 3 over the last 4, and I just don't see that
Right.
happen.
Well, I don't. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Buccaneers are at the Packers.
I think that's a loss.
Jaguars at Bucks.
Wow.
And then obviously Saints at Bucks, but then the Bucks play the Panthers their last game.
Yeah, but that's 2. Really, that's 2. That's
a division
3
game. Yeah.
That's 3 in a row before the Panthers of like. That's a harder schedule than the Saints have, in my opinion. Going to the Packers are playing well.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Love.
And they got to go to Lambeau in December. That's not
Yeah,
what you want.
not what you want.
That's not
Not
what you
from Tampa.
No.
Right? And then you got the Jaguars, which the Jaguars have, kind of lost a couple games, but they're good, and they're going to have to win. Like, they're in the AFC, so they have to win these games. And then you got the Saints, that's, desperation time at that point.
Yeah.
What about the Falcons?
Falcons are at the Panthers this week.
Mm-hmm.
Then Colts at Falcons, which squirrely. Falcons at Bears.
Squirrely is 2, I think.
Colts are
I
7
agree.
and 6 right now too.
Mm-hmm.
Falcons like to run it. Bears don't give up any rushing yards.
And then Falcons Saints.
That's the one.
I like the Saints. To me, Saints have the most.
That's the
favorite-
one. That's the one.
I think it's going to come down between Atlanta and New Orleans. So that last game of the season could decide the whole thing.
Yep.
Which actually is pretty fun.
Yeah.
As bad as the season's
there's
been,
a reason
at
we're-
least it's still fun.
There's a reason we're all still hate watching these games. I did want to see. I don't want to say I wanted to see them lose, but I just wanted to see some chaos.
I ain't gonna lie to you too. I really thought we were about to watch a 10,
all-time
11,
clunker.
12 win
Before the season
Saints
started.
season. If they get to 10, I'm gonna be like, wow.
If they went out, like if they win Sunday, right? They win this week against the Giants. Then they go to LA and win. My hopes for the Saints will go up because I'm like, okay, you're going on the road to a team that's playing good football and beating them at home. Like, that's pretty good.
It won't happen.
And it won't happen. But I feel like Donald's going to have a day.
Oh, maybe Derek Carr should be scared right now.
Yeah.
Who did they just play and beat the Rams? Was it the Ravens beat the Rams, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rams almost beat them.
That's the only quarterback Aaron Donald has yet to sack is Lamar. He had him in his grip.
I know you saw me spin around a couple times.
So I don't think Derek Carr is
Odell
capable.
had a day.
He did. Ran the wrong route.
4 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown on the wrong route. Worked
It's Odell
out
for you.
Worked out.
He's got his little wiggle back.
He's getting there.
He's
Took
getting
him
there.
a
Next
while.
year he'll be even. I think if it stays, as long as he
When
stays
you-
healthy, I think he's in a good spot
Yeah,
over
when
there.
you have an ACL and then you don't play for a full year, just be honest, bro. Getting those like game time legs under you, that shit takes a
Well,
while.
when you have
man.
an ACL and you play and they didn't repair the ACL the right way and you have to do it again, it takes a little toll on your body.
Man, you,
Find
and
me
you
some
miss a
natural
year
grass.
from it, yeah, that takes a while, man.
No
Like,
doubt.
But that's where you get into like the. I'm interested to see. I mean, I don't put any stock into what Mel Kiper says. I think he got
Kiper.
Todd. I think he got 3 picks right in last year's mock draft. His final one.
Did he?
In like the first round.
Did he really?
Yeah, which is tough. So I don't put a lot of stock into what he has to say. But if he's coming around to the idea, I'd love to hear what. Is it Bill Polian? I'd love to hear what Bill has to say about Jaden Daniels and his evaluation on a running back at quarterback because it seems like Lamar's doing just
Bill's
fine.
doing us all a favor. I think the game's passing by.
Yeah,
Just a
write
bit.
a book.
Just a bit.
But I'm interested
He
to
was
see.
good this time, though.
Yes. I'm
was real
interested to see where if Jaden Daniels winds up in the division, I could see him in Atlanta because it's going to shake out between the Saints, Falcons, and the Bucks as to who's going to have a pick in that mix around where probably Jaden it feels like is going to go now.
See, I feel like I think Jaden's going to go. He may not even be there for that pick.
I feel like somebody's going to trade up for him.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like is going to happen.
Right. and
Carolina?
I think when the draft happens, right? Like leading up to the draft, they're not getting another quarterback. Carolina's keeping.
Oh, no, I was kidding.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but like leading up to the draft, teams really dive in to the guys, like especially the top tier quarterbacks. The guys so they're gonna dive into, hey, what play was called? What were the read progressions? How did he go about it? Like all of those things. Like they're gonna really look at it. Like you study film and you look at it, but like.
But then a lot of these guys are probably, especially like a Mel Kiper type, are like seeing the numbers after the game, like, oh shit, he must be good.
Hey,
And I think that's when
ask you this
when
question.
he's going to start really even going even higher because they're going to realize, damn, this guy's going sometimes hitting his 4th read.
I'll throw this one out there just because it's going to be very, very, very interesting to see how that thing plays out from here to April. Do you think, even though he's rated on Kiper's board as a 2 and maybe some other ones from now on, do you think he'll actually go as the second quarterback or better off the board? That's the real question.
No.
And the only reason I pose this question is not so much of what I think about him. Like, I think about Joe's rise, right? Mm-hmm. Joe went from not playing to playing 1 full year to playing his 2nd full year, and you're like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
As good as he's been, and he's been unbelievable this year, and the jump from last year has been unbelievable. You're also watching a guy with 5 years of starting quarterback. So will they be like, oh, yeah, we see it as that too? Or will they be like, man, I'm not actually sold? That's what I'm wondering.
I think that I get your point. And I think it could go that way. I think personally, teams are going to look at that and say, okay, yes, he had 5 years, whatever. I think they're going to look at, okay, what did he do 1 year? Okay, he struggled. and then he made a change. Okay, he was pretty good, and then his last year, the jump that he made from like the progression he made from freshman year to his last year, not necessarily statistic wise, but more about like how did he manage the offense? How did he understand? He understood concepts. He understood what defenses were trying to do to him. He understood that, yeah, he ran for 1,200 yards almost. But to be honest with you, like 75% of that probably was runs that he had to, like he improvised. It wasn't, first reads out, let me run around, scramble, run, right?
Of course.
And so I think when teams see that, it's like, okay, this guy, especially the way the NFL is now, like, okay, this guy understands the position. Does he go as a number 2 quarterback in the draft?
Or better.
Ooh.
2 or better.
Yeah, right. I think that, I honestly, yes, I do.
Because this happens every year, right? Where it felt like before the year there was a lot of.
Who else would jump him? Drake?
Bro, because you know what's gonna happen. Like
Sam Hartman.
No. Drake May when the combine and pro day comes and he's every bit of 6'6" with all this pedigree and this big strong ass arm and he puts on an absolute show. Somebody's gonna fall in love with that
because he can run too.
Because he can run too. Will they fall in love enough for him to jump? Because also remember, like he's got the quarterback. I say quarterback coach, not really quarterback coach, but the guy that's his head coach has had a lot of quarterbacks come out under him.
Right. And the other point to that is they're gonna look at stature a little bit. Obviously, Bryce Young went 1 overall, and they had he's too frail.
Bryce is helping him.
Right.
Bryce being healthy.
Right. Now, and Jaden's bigger than Bryce.
He is.
But, like, Jaden's still frail. Not frail.
He's thinner.
Frail's not the right word.
He's a thinner dude.
He's a thinner guy.
Yeah.
He's gained weight, and I think he's going to continue to gain weight, right? Lamar kind of did the same thing. I think Lamar was built a little bit stronger, like bigger than him.
I'm not sure Jaden really has a frame to, like, put on weight. Right. But he's a thin dude. It just is what it is.
And he took some big hits this year, but I think that could be a potential thing. It's gonna be interesting to see, but I think depending on who's got those picks, the way that Stroud's been playing this year, and those types of quarterbacks, you may see him go too because of the ability to run.
Yeah. I even go back to like the Joe's draft. Like Joe, I think in my mind was far like out there. Like Joe was 2 in that same draft. Joe, Tua coming off an injury, and then you had Justin Herbert, right? And Herbert did his thing out at Oregon. I'm going to be honest with you.
Justin Herbert fucked me for the fantasy football playoffs.
Yeah, they didn't really help me. But
those last 3 weeks?
Didn't really help me.
I got knocked out.
Finger.
I got knocked out.
His other hand's hurt too now, so he got 2 of them.
But anyway. Speaking of coaches that are toast.
Oh, I'm waiting for that to happen like soon.
I can't believe it hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm really surprised if he makes it to the end of the year, I will be super surprised.
He looks like he's playing Halloween as a head coach.
And
like the hat doesn't fit.
And
I
also think Jimmy, who they've been literally just tapping Jimmy's phone. Hey, bro, come on, Jimmy Harbaugh. Hey, come on, bro. We need to get you over here. Anyway, when we go back to thinking about him, like back at that time, I'm like, look, bro, I get it, man. And I've come on to Justin Herbert a lot more lately. Like I think he's way tougher than we ever thought. I think he's a little bit better leader than we ever thought he ever was. All of that stuff. So he's done more to prove to me that he's better than I thought he was coming out. But how many people were clamoring that he should have been the guy over Joe?
Right.
And still kind of going off of like, hey, look at his stats the first 4 years and look at Joe's stats and still trying to say, oh, he's better than Joe. He's not.
Right.
Is he really good? He is. Like, is someone going to fall in love with that kind of opportunity and say, I'll take that over Jayden? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting.
Like you said,
they're gonna nitpick the shit out of him.
I mean, look what happened to, like it happens every year with at least one player where somebody either gets taken earlier than they should have been, a la Richardson for the Colts, and then Will Levis kind of falls a little bit. Like there's always something where somebody's like, it only takes one team to fall in love with you, and I don't think Jayden will be an Aaron Rodgers type fall where it's like, okay, like there's no more teams left, to take.
Or Lamar.
Hey, here's the thing. Think about this.
Or Lamar fall. You know what I mean?
Lamar fell a ton, right? And think about this when it comes to Jayden. Will Levis last year, pretty much off of physique, arm strength, almost got him drafted in the top 10. will physique, and I'm not necessarily saying arm strength, but I guess the way he's thrown the ball in the past outside of this year, but will physique and the arm thing kind of make Jayden fall a little bit?
Right.
That's a wonder.
Because the people are they're gonna look at it, they're gonna overanalyze instead of seeing
No
what
doubt.
production happened on the field in the SEC. And I mean, I don't say what you will about the games that he lost. I mean, he still played well in every game, and you can look at the Alabama game and say they were on the ropes. LSU had the best chance of anybody to beat Alabama outside of Texas that did.
Yeah.
But if Jayden plays that entire game, the offense is coming for you, and that's the other thing.
It's a one-possession game at the end.
That's the other thing that sucks about kind of like the Heisman Trophy ceremony, and if you'd have had Malik win the Blitnikoff, which he should have, and then you have Denbrock run the Bortles, which it feels like he should have, and then you could have won the Joe Moore Award, which I don't know who did. But you have all of that line up for another, like, and it's easy to draw the comparison to 2019. You're like, dude, you have this incredible offense that doesn't come around all that often. Seems like it does a little bit more at LSU now than it ever has, but it feels almost as if like you wasted a year of a phenomenal season where you have one player put up 50.
He loves saying
wasted. I know, but I get what you're saying. It was unfortunate that defense was as bad as they were,
right?
Because of the guy you had at quarterback.
50
I get
touchdowns that you
100%. I 100% agree with that. But
2 Chris Hilton drops away from.
And you know what's crazy too? I went back and saw someone. I don't know. You know, Twitter these days is different. Anybody can have a check. And
Don't go to the For You page.
I saw someone literally tweet about basically saying that Jayden was the worst Heisman pick ever, and then he gave like this big long soliloquy about he didn't have any Heisman moments, and he talked about RG3's game against Oklahoma and all kind of other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, just me trying to figure it out. I'm like, I can't believe you would go out and say some stuff like this with a following. It's pretty pathetic that you would do that. But the second part is I go back and I look at like RG3's thing, and he was like, you know, Jayden's got 3 losses. This team was never in contention. I'm like, all right, let's go back and look at RG3's year. Nothing against RG3, but I'm like, that team had 3 losses before they got to November. And you want to know what's crazy about it? On the season, they gave up like 430 points, which is like 100 more than LSU gave up this year. So RG3 had that year once again because they had to, because they were getting points put up on them like nothing.
Right.
And I go, it's crazy how people will sit here and say that, oh, Jayden didn't have any Heisman moments, even though he had a 600-yard game. He didn't have any Heisman moments, and this team wasn't this. I'm just like, bro, y'all are so ridiculous.
It's so easy. Anybody can make any narrative they want. They can look at it and twist anything they want to do.
They were trying to do it during the Heisman ceremony whenever Michael Penix has all of his teammates on the inside and Jaden Daniels had him doing the Heisman on the inside. Like, there's your Heisman winner right there. That's the kind of quarterback I'd want. It's like, who? The votes are in, cuz. He's
a team captain. The team voted him a captain.
Yeah.
I think he's pretty much about
He's
the
okay.
team.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But that's the narrative that can be. But those are the kind of things that people will look at in the draft room because they're insane and they've looked at the same piece of paper and studied for this final for so long that they're like, maybe I'll convince myself that this is the answer, whatever. It's right in front of you. And you start looking at the other stuff that doesn't really mean what you think it might mean. And that's what is crazy to me, especially at the quarterback position where it means so much to the NFL, obviously. But that's what gets overanalyzed more than any other position, like on the field in any sport, because like Malik, it's an easy, okay, take him. Like you got a good player.
Right.
Like Jayden could probably be, and for him, it's going to be a lot about fit too. Like you're going to have to tailor your offense a little bit to what he does. I think there was a stat about his rushing, like that called runs that he had, and it was like under 20 that were designed
That's what I mean.
runs.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, like Lamar had like over 50 in college. So you're getting a true dual threat quarterback, and it's something that I don't even think we saw.
He had like 40 more explosive plays than like anybody in the nation.
Oh, the stats that they were throwing on the screen during the Heisman ceremony were absurd.
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, there was no argument.
No.
Right? And like, I know we're LSU guys, but like, there's no argument because if you just look at what he's done on the field, there's zero comparison.
A lot of people tell me they didn't watch LSU play.
Only argument people have is win-loss record. That's it. And people are trying to put Penix's last game's numbers up against Jayden's, and he's got more of this, more of that. I'm like, he has one more game. He played one more game. If you just talk regular season, it's not even close. And so...
But all that comes back to the draft. Yeah. Like, I don't think Penix will jump. Like, that's who was another guy that was in front of him.
Hey, here's a question because they push for it so hard. Just if Bo Nix beats Penix in that championship game,
he's a Heisman winner.
Does he win the Heisman?
Absolutely.
Does he
Bo
win the
Nix is
Heisman?
married, by the way. I didn't know that.
I thought that was his sister. They look exactly alike. It was like a little.
I didn't know they were
I don't know
married.
what's going on
Married.
with the Knicks family, but they're keeping it in the family.
Wow. I don't think it looks that
aggressive.
like.
That's aggressive.
When you saw them sitting next to each other, I was like, "Did you not go? Is that his sister?" Or his
Well,
wife?"
yeah, but I didn't know he was married. Like, I was not saying I didn't think it because of his looks. I just thought because of she was just sitting next to him. I thought it was a part of it because everyone else's family was next to him. I didn't know he was married.
But that's what.
Well, it's because that's what you don't usually think about when you look
Right.
at
He's
college.
been in college
students.
for 15 years. I guess it's time to
That's
settle down.
better, Lloyd. You could say that.
Yeah.
Can't say his wife looks like. Good God.
Man likes himself.
Oh my God.
Got a scrappy jawline.
Are you talking about her? Or are you talking
No,
about
Bo
him?
Nix. He's like
But so
real
who are
built
you talking
up.
about here?
Yeah.
What do y'all like tonight? 2 Monday night. What do y'all feel about the Monday night football games?
Why do them at the same time?
Why are they at the same time? I
Why?
don't like that.
That's the second time I've done it. What? There's a reason.
No, but they didn't do them at the same time last time. They did one
They
before the
staggered
other.
them.
Staggered
with one
They
other,
staggered them, yeah.
So it's one
You're
ESPN.
going up against each other.
Yeah, you're cut your nose off to spite your face is a nice way to say it.
That's a Lloydism.
I'm trying. I don't understand. I don't.
I had
get
a
it.
better one, but I saved it. Put it back in the pocket.
What do y'all like?
After your
I
last
bet- look,
shot and miss just now.
Caesar's kind of screwed me up a little bit.
I
Don't love that.
I have a tout on Twitter. We missed some of the numbers have gone up, but Jayden Reed combined rushing receiving, he had it at 48.5. It's at 50.5. I took it anyway. And total rushing attempts for Saquon was at he got it at 16.
I love the props on the players. And
Me
it's not
too.
like
well,
score
especially
touchdown.
when these games stink out loud.
Yeah. And it's not like, oh, score a touchdown or first touchdown score. Like, no, these are like all game things. Like, hey, passing attempts or passing yards or rushing attempts. Like, you know, there's like research done. Like scoring a touchdown's luck. You know, like, hey, first touchdown score, like that's luck.
Yeah.
This is like there's
Well,
stuff that goes into this.
This is where I think Vegas makes a lot of its hay, especially because they just expect people to like. I literally just watched the Saints game. I didn't even do red zone because I didn't gamble on anything. Like I was still riding the Jaden Daniels high and looking at the account. I was like, I like the number that's there. I'm gonna keep it there for a little bit. So then I hit the 4 o'clock window and I was like, well, now I'm itching. But what do you do, like player props? And it feels like we have an inside advantage watching LSU the way that we do. Like they kept putting the Malik receiving yards at like 85. And then it finally caught up to like, it needs to be 95, 98, 98 and a half. Like, okay,
Well, that's what
now
that's-
you're scaring me.
That's like what they were doing with Cooper Kupp 2 years ago, or was it last year?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And they're like, his player props was like, all right, Cooper Kupp to have 115 and a half yards receiving. I'm
You're
like,
like, bro, what?
and you
trying
get,
to-
you get 150. And
Yeah,
it
you're
was
trying
like,
to scare
Cooper
me
Kupp-
off of it.
Cooper Kupp 127 and a half. I'm like, what? He would get it. And it was just like, they couldn't go high enough. It was just one of those years for him. You know, it's
It's the same thing with the Jaden Daniels
Yeah.
rushing yards. Like all year, they're like 45 and a half. Like, I'll take that.
he had one run.
Yeah. And it's like 65 and a half. Like, I'll still take that. He's
Right.
running for 1,000 yards this year.
Right.
And it's just whenever you're that close to it, which is where we hit a lot of player props, I feel like, for like Brian Thomas to score a touchdown plus 155. Like, I'll take that. Because we've been watching LSU play every game.
Right.
Like, and for some of us, like multiple times.
But then you get like these guys who like make not create lines, but like do all the research.
Right, I
or
don't-
they
I
have
haven't watched Tennessee play.
Yeah,
enough
but
to know.
you have guys that you follow or that
Right.
have algorithms, or they do their research and they say this is why I picked this, and this, and it's like that. There's numbers for that. Like there's research for that. There's not like it's hard to go up there and say, oh, this guy's gonna score a touchdown because this team has given up the most touchdowns to running backs over the last 10 games. Like, well,
pull it.
you know, like that. Yeah, that's hard to. But hey, this team
Anytime.
has given up. This team has given up. You know, over the last 15 games, this team starting running backs. Starting running backs average 17 carries a game, and the over/under prop for the starting running back is 50.5. It's like, okay, I'm gonna take the over, right? Because there's numbers proven to that. It's just
It's like taking
That's
Kamara's checkdowns.
I haven't
whenever
taken
Drew Brees
spread.
in
I haven't
his
taken
last year.
spreads or over/under in like months
I did a teaser
in the NFL.
for this game in particular. Titans plus 20.5. I mean, you're an
I've
NFL
got my
team.
account. I'm road to 2K.
Come
No,
catch
actually,
me.
road to even money. Road
Yeah.
to even. Road to even. I
We're
got a
back
little ways
on
to
the
go.
road to 3K.
Whoa.
Getting there.
Big futures hit in.
Yeah, big futures.
Wow.
Got the
Good
Marvin
for you.
Harrison Blitnikoff, but I did have Malik, which was a much better payout, but had both. And then
Nice.
obviously the Jaden Daniels 16 times helps. It was only 3.
Yeah, but what was the biggest odds you got?
1,000. Then I got it at 800 and then 350.
When did you get to 1,000?
I did it too early. I did it before the year. Whenever he
When
was
he was
like,
good, but after the Florida State, I think is when the odds are highest.
I think Alabama, when he got knocked out, and then they lost, and it's like a 3-loss team.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
That's probably when, and even I didn't. I think I was just in too much of a dark spot to go. Let's check the Heisman odds on Jaden Daniels. Like, the man doesn't even know where he is right now. He's trying to play football again. They're like, Jaden, get off the field. But he's like, there's an article that came out. Have you seen this about like the VR thing that he's been using?
I know what it is. Like, they do a lot for baseball.
Wherever he goes, they better bring that headset with him.
Oh, no doubt.
Like, that should be a request.
He's 100% gonna do it. But like, they started doing that with baseball, and it's gotten a lot better. Like in 17, they had this little VR thing in Detroit, and I
Wii
like.
Sports.
And it's similar, but like you had the VR, and you could look at the guy throwing. You could get all the stuff. You could see how his windup is and timing, and kind of get the velocity. It's just
Put in certain
it
counts and
wasn't
throws.
great yet, but like you could see where it was going. And obviously, this 6 years later, Jesus Christ, 6 years since then. That's a long time. I'm getting old, Coach. It doesn't feel like it, but getting there.
Hey, Muffin method, you look great.
That's it. Feel great. 6 years later, the technology is night and day from when it was then, right? So,
I just want to put it on. I applied to get one. They didn't email me back. Said it worked for LSU. I just want to see what he's looking at because they had LSU is the only team in the country that had it. Like obviously, Jack Marucci is a Mitch when it comes to this type of like he always finds winning within the margins and how to help players. I mean, the man made a baseball bat out of a tree in his backyard, built an empire. But like whenever they did this interview and it was with LSU Gold, I believe, but they like put all this together and he's like, LSU is the only team in the country that has like, Jack, that's enough. Like, don't tell other people about this thing because they asked Jayden how much it helped him and he expected to hear like, oh, like 10%. And he's like 85%. Like, I feel like I've already played the game.
Right.
And they speed it up. They said to like
faster.
2 times the game speed of what he actually sees. So he's like having to make very like split decisions. And the technology that's in it, they had these guys from Germany that invented it. They used it for goalies. That was like in the Premier League. Like that's what it was originally used for. Jack reached out, of course, and then they flew them in for a game. And they're like, oh, there's a flyover before a game. They put that in the VR, so now you have like a flyover pregame. They know where all the play clocks are for visiting stadiums. Like they 3D map all of these things out and put them in the headset. So when Jaden's looking for the play clock, he's like, I already know where it is.
And part of this whole thing is like, yes, obviously, anytime you can go and prep and you can get these reads and you kind of see it, always helps.
It ain't Madden.
And it's like when you're watching film and you watch film over and over and over and over and over again, and you see exactly what they're trying to do and what situations and what formations. When receivers go in motion, you kind of see what they're going to do, and you watch it and you're familiar with it. You get a lot more comfortable doing it. Now, when you get to actually do that same thing, but actually make the throws and make the actual reads and basically real time.
Play the game.
That's also gives a comfort level to the player, right? And look, I think it did help a lot. Obviously, he said 85%. I think it may not help everybody 85%, but I think part of it is his way of like, hey, this is my film. This is my prep. This is how I feel more comfortable in my reads and my progressions. And anytime you're more comfortable, you're gonna feel better, right? And so the more times you see something, the better you're going to be at doing it.
The first time he used it was before the Mississippi State game where he went 30 of 34 for 361 yards and 2 tuds. And he was like,
I'll never stop doing that.
I'll need this for every game.
Right.
And obviously that's where you saw the explosion. Like if you'd had it before Florida State, who knows?
And here's the other thing is like that game, like that thing, it's like a game. So like
it's probably fun.
That's my point. Like you're not watching film. You are. But you're not sitting there in the room and you're watching film and you're rewinding and you're going back and you're rewinding and you're like, okay, what do they do here? You are still doing that, but then you get to go and you say, okay, now it's time to have some fun. Let's put this headset on and let me go out and play this game. Let me go do everything I just saw without having to worry about consequences. And then you do it over and over and over and over and over. And it's like, oh, I'm ready. Makes a lot.
Yeah, and it's so position specific for quarterback. Like I don't know if you could do it for really any other position in
Because
football.
you have to run routes. Like,
Right,
you're not
that's what I'm
just reading,
saying.
Yeah.
And so it just makes so much sense. Like, same thing for baseball. That's why those two are so tightly intertwined. It's like hitter versus pitcher. This is me versus the defense, where
Right.
this isn't going to change for my position. It doesn't really help anybody else, I wouldn't imagine. Maybe a safety or something like that. But for a quarterback, it has to make such a difference where you feel like you've gone through and played the game and you can get what feels like real live reps in without having to drag 22 people over.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously it works.
Yeah.
I want to try it. I like
There's
to see
only
it.
one here. Hit up Jack. Bring it in the studio.
Boy, I tell you what, that company got I think they're gonna have a huge boost in
Hey,
sales.
you want to know what's crazy to me is I'm listening to y'all talk about all this, and I believe that did help him a ton. You know what else helped him a ton? And I think probably helped him more than what people are actually talking about. You know how many times he got sacked last year? 43.
Oh.
You know how many times he got sacked this year? Just take a guess. Take a stab at it.
9.
22. So when you cut that in half and he ain't getting hit, and mind you, this is sacked 43. I think he got hit a lot more last year, right? So when you cut that in half and you cut the amount of times people are dangling on your arm and or around your feet or making you move and making you uncomfortable, we can get real comfortable looking at the progressions and going through it. I think that helped him a ton.
And I think part of not being sacked, one, offensive line was better.
That's my point. Yeah.
2, his processing was also better.
Well,
right?
it gets better when I'm not looking
No
down.
doubt.
Yeah,
No
I think
doubt.
my point is I think the offensive line is much better than what people think, and
Yep.
and the progression that the offensive line made from year 1 of Brian Kelly to year 2 of Brian Kelly is much better than what people think.
Agreed.
I think that was a huge part of what he was able to do this year.
Who won the Joe Moore Award?
I don't know.
They never announced the winner. They just have the finalists still.
I don't know.
But LSU,
We didn't mention this, but LSU was the second school in the history. Everybody thought it was the first time ever that they had the Golden Spikes and the Heisman Trophy. Second time. First time was Oklahoma State, Robin Ventura, and Barry Sanders. Both pretty good players.
Didn't happen in the SEC though.
Nope, not in the FC. And Robin Ventura, a great player, not a great fighter.
I was about to say that's
One
Not a great
fight,
fight.
fight got him, Bo.
And I
Imagine
agree.
if
Wrong-
you were a
wrong
boxer
guy.
and one fight got you.
Wrong guy.
you ran up on the wrong man.
Wrong guy.
Robin Ventura could try to
you-
fight Nolan Ryan
interview-
today, and the same thing would happen.
Interview with Robin Ventura. He's like, I didn't want to go. I feel like I had to go, and I was already gone, and it was ours there. Not bad decision.
Yeah, stuffed in a locker.
I think, aren't they coming out with a Barry Sanders documentary? I think a 30 for 30.
They already did.
They already did. I watched it.
I haven't
Is it
watched
good? Like why he retired? Like
Yeah.
that's what it was supposed to be about.
Yeah, I mean, it was just pretty much like I'm kind of done. Like Detroit, is that they made some changes to the offense that he didn't like, and it was very introspective into Barry's like personality. Like he had the chance to set the rookie rushing record, and he sat out the game because he didn't want it. He's kind of a bizarre dude, and then he had another chance to eclipse like 2,000 yards and become the highest rusher in the season, and he sat that game out too. It was just kind of like a bunch of weird stuff that Barry was on about. So it's more
That's
of a
weird.
him type deal, and then how the whole thing played out in Detroit, where they thought they were good, they made a run in the playoffs, and he's like, "Oh, we'll get back." They never really got back.
I don't
But
know, Coach. Sounds to me like Detroit's a thing because they had two absolute
I know.
all-time
Yep.
greats there, and both of them said, "Hey, bro, I'm out," with like a lot of meat left on the bone. So it sounds like to me like they was running things pretty wrong there for a while.
And their quarterback that when they drafted Barry was the Heisman winner before. Like the year before, he had won the Heisman. So they were accruing talent. It just didn't seem like it was the whole structure was broken. But the best thing about that entire documentary is just the highlights of Barry Sanders. He was unbelievable. Like I knew it already, but to get to see him again and they kind of like HD'd him up, like recut the tape. And it
Right.
was like, this guy was unbelievable. But he's a weirdo.
Yeah, it's very good though.
And I think he was featured in the for the Doak Walker, because I think the Oklahoma State running back won it, so
Yep.
they showed him again, and he was like, "Congratulations, whatever." But just an odd bird.
I'm gonna watch it. I haven't seen it.
It's on HBO Max.
Okay.
Or no,
Definitely
Prime.
skips to his
Prime,
own beat.
That's what it was on
Prime.
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 Y'all saw Ricky Williams? Ricky was
In his element.
feeling good.
I didn't know if he was going to do the hook 'em
He
or
did
the,
do it.
I know. I didn't know which way he was going to go. He was in jeans and cowboy boots. Everybody else in a three-piece suit, and he was like, "I guess I'll show up."
Come on, what you think I'm
He
here
was
for?
Ricky, baby.
Hey, so because the game's about to start, I put this as a backup curtain call for me, but I'm going to talk about it now. Did y'all see Tommy DeVito's agent?
No.
Look in the doc and pull it up all the way to the bottom. Tommy DeVito, right? About as Italian as you can get, right? The agent looks like he came from The Sopranos. I'm not joking, dude. Like, it's...
Have you seen this? Oh, my God. Is this real?
It's real. Put it on there.
Dude, the Giants are in deep. Have you seen DeVito's dad?
Very Italian.
The most Italian. This guy takes the cake. Oh, my God. Look at this man.
That's his agent. I'd imagine that's his agent.
That don't even look real, bro. That looks like his brother who just put on a...
Right, and look, it
Looks
could
like
be
it's
maybe his brother's his
Halloween.
agent, but like anybody who wears that suit,
That man Googled, what do Italian agents wear? He looks like he has a Tommy gun under
I
there.
would love to see what's going on that phone. They got some other conversation going
No
on
doubt.
that phone.
Hey, Tommy
Wow.
said, hey, under over 36 pass attempts are taking the under.
that's why Tommy's next to him. That's what you gotta do.
Oh, man, that's great.
I haven't seen the pinstripes
I know.
3-piece with the fedora,
With the turtleneck.
with the turtleneck. They should have let this man on the sidelines.
Good looking dude.
Sure.
The crazy thing is, like, we laughing at him, but it's like, wow, that's an Italian look right there.
And Tommy DeVito's
That's
doing
crazy.
okay.
This is Sean Stellato.
That's his name? You've looked it up?
Yep, he's got a Italian flag in his bio.
That's interesting. Good for him.
He's
Good for him.
He's in the Salem High Gunnery Hall
Keep
of
it
Fame.
in the family right there, huh?
Keep it in the family. We
Sports agent Arthur, who lives by the golden rule. I think that's a different golden rule than what I was taught in school.
yeah, like, what golden rule are you talking
Is
about?
that what they say?
Swimming with the fishes.
In the
What else
sky?
we got?
Or
What
the
else
ocean?
we got today?
Zion's fat.
Zion is fat.
Stephen A. had all-timer. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. He said he got rolls.
He called him a fat bastard. And
Stephen A.
you don't have headphones on, but the Stephen A. rant is all time. I'll pull it up and we can watch it, but you can't hear it.
I don't know how my earphones in. Sorry.
It's okay. But for the people,
I will say this: if I hit my parlay and not being able to bet the parlay on Caesars, I really am gonna be very mad.
it's up to you, man. Oh, they got the captions for you.
Looks fat. He looks fat. While LeBron James had
in 3 quarters and it completely dominated and looked in peak physical condition. Zion Williamson, who's more than 15 years younger,
He's all time.
went to the free throw line.
I've grown.
I saw a belly. When he took a deep breath, his belly bounced. That kind of belly. I mean, damn. But you look like you showed up to the game having just ate a buffet. Not something from the buffet, the buffet. Like you ate the damn table. Get
Ate the
in
damn
my
table.
belly. That's what I saw. I know they got a weight clause in his contract. They got to. He got to be violating that. So he's addicted to food.
He's addicted to
I'm
food.
speculating, but it's gotta be. But Zion Williamson, in basketball parlance, is fat. It's gotta change. Zion Williamson, he looks fat. He looks fat. While
I like
LeBron
that.
James had
I
dropped.
really do. I like him, but he is fat.
Yeah, I mean,
Healthy. Tick.
and
He is fat.
you had the Pelicans' old athletic trainer come out and say he wasn't fat when I was there, so everybody's taking shots at Zion.
It's low hanging fruit.
Well, he wouldn't eat that.
Oh, maybe he didn't like fruit. Maybe that's why he's fat. Maybe he should eat more fruit.
Yeah, so I'm saying he wouldn't touch that.
Yeah, better sugars.
Those that press conference aged poorly, huh? What are y'all gonna do if you win the Vegas Cup?
Yeah, that didn't go over well.
No, but it was fun while it lasted, and now the entire city's turned on again.
Yeah,
Everyone's just in disarray. They just want a winner so badly.
they'll be all right. They'll figure it
All
out.
right.
They're resilient.
I mean, if you really need help, just call this guy.
They'll fight through.
Get you out of a pinch.
He'll figure it out. He's got some cleaners.
He's got some cleaners, yeah.
All right, let's get to the Seggies. Mistake of the day is brought to you by our friends at Dozy Place.
Delicious.
Delicious. Delicious. Oh, finally. 3 days later?
Split it.
How does a burger taste that
Oh,
3 days away?
I looked up how to reheat a burger, reheat the
How
French fries.
oven?
You go skillet low, let it settle, and then oven for the French fries wrapped in tinfoil. Uncover them for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want them. You can
Or you can put them in the air fryer.
I thought about that. I've done that before, but then they're too crunch.
I like a crunchy fry.
Yeah, but you don't want to be eating
No, right.
potato
I'm not-
strings.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
But we finally got knocked that one out the way, which was delicious. I got to have it 3 times. Mistake of the day brought to you by
Dozy Place.
And this is something that we probably should have talked about since we watched a lot of NFL football over the weekend. Kadarius Tony doesn't seem to know where the line of scrimmage is. And it takes away one of the all-time plays maybe ever from...
And it wasn't called. It was impromptu, I think.
Oh, it was.
It's not a thing. That was
Yeah, it was definitely not a play call. It was playing flag football, and Travis Kelce said, "Oh, I see him. Nobody's around him. Let me throw." And while I'm watching it live, I'm like, "Damn, Travis Kelce had a lot of space." And then I watched the replay. I'm like, didn't have that much space to actually make the throw. There's actually a guy coming to hit him.
Hey, just turned and looked, but obviously
Played quarterback in
at Cincinnati under Brian Kelly. But he just sees a guy and he says, "Fuck it, chuck it."
Wow. I mean, it's just I watched it and I'm like, "Oh my god." And then
it was offsides.
Brought back because Kadarius Tony lined up offsides. Now, there's been an emphasis for the NFL. A lot of calls of
11
that.
this year.
The problem, I have no problem with the call because he's offsides. You see it right there. See it right there. The problem, I think, with the problem that the Chiefs had, because if you saw Mahomes, I had never seen Patrick Mahomes like that. I thought he was going at somebody on the team.
Nope.
He's going at the referees. And I think the problem that the Chiefs had was, and if you go back and look at the game, I think Kadarius Tony lined up all sides 4 or 5 times. 4 times.
4 times.
And they called that one.
That's the only point for me is he offsides right there? That's not even a question.
Right.
Anybody can see that.
Call the first one, he's not offside.
Ray Charles can see that.
Right.
Right. But the problem is just like you said, we have an emphasis on this call this year. So how did we miss it the first 3 times,
Right.
and then all of a sudden we call it then?
You call it the first time, he's not offsides.
Doesn't happen. And if you didn't miss it the first 3 times, why didn't we, like anybody else in those situations, say, "Hey, coach, you need to back him up. I'm gonna call it at some point."
Right.
So if there's an emphasis on it, why didn't we call it the other 3 times? That's the only question I got.
I'm with you. But mistake of the day is Kadarius Tony taking away an all-time great play.
Oh, because
No. When Travis would go, as soon as he gets inducted, that's one of the
That's the
first
play.
5 clips that they'll play.
No doubt.
100%. And that's
No
no
doubt.
longer a clip anymore
I know.
because it didn't count.
I'd still show it.
They
Even though it doesn't count.
I mean, they played it out. They should.
I mean,
Could
what
you
a play.
imagine being
All-time savvy. And here's the deal.
And it would have been to win the game too, pretty much.
Not only did he make the throw and have the nuts to say, "I'm going to throw a ball 15 yards
in the NFL?
Backwards across, that's not called." Not only did he have the nuts to call it, Kadarius Tony had to be alert.
Yep.
He had to say, they had to make eye contact and say, "Hey,
Bro, if you
hey,
watch it before-
this had to have happened, not called. This had to have happened in practice or something before."
No. I'm not saying it was called. If you literally go back and watch, so we've watched it so many times because we've basically looked at where he was and then kind of saw the back of it. Go watch Travis while he's actually running with the ball, and then all of a sudden, out of the corner of his eye, he just saw him and just raised up and threw it. It was almost like oh wow, he's wide open. I know there's no one on that side of the field because that's one of the things that people praise him about, how well he is at finding voids and knowing spots on the field.
Right.
I think he just threw it literally out of reaction.
Right.
Because even on his podcast, he's talked about times where he's done stuff like that, and coach is like, "What are you doing?"
That's what I mean. He's definitely tried that in practice before.
I think he's tried it in practice. I think they've talked about it, if anything.
Yeah.
I think if he tries it in practice, Andy probably kicked him in the ass and said,
Yeah.
"Don't ever do that again on my field." And I think he realizes that and knows that. I'm not going to do this in practice because I will get absolutely reamed. I will pull it out in the game.
But Kadarius Tony had to be alert. He was.
He was.
and
And he had to make a good throw.
that was a seed.
Throw was on the dime. It was an absolute
Unbelievable.
money.
Unbelievable.
And
Perfect spiral.
To put some of this in context, he's done it before with LaShawn McCoy, where it worked out, and he expected Andy Reid to be like, "What do you do?" And he goes, should we like start doing that like more like a couple times a game? Like Andy Reid was enamored by it. He was like, dude, this works. And it's like rugby. Like dude, there's a reason that they're all chasing the football. Nobody does this. So if you see an opportunity, and if
you have to be able to do it, or you could turn into the other side where
now you're taking people out of the play.
Or you can be Tyler Boyd, you can try to do it and you throw an interception to the defensive tackle. Behind the line of scrimmage.
It don't take much. If you miss that ball and it just rolls out of bounds, and it's not good.
Right.
Or you could be Reggie Bush in the national championship.
Like, not incomplete pass is a fumble.
Yeah.
With nobody around because everybody's on the other side of the field. So not only is it a fumble, it's probably a scoop and score.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened. What was it, the Patriots last year, where somebody tried to do this, and the Patriots picked it off and ran it back, and they won the game. Like it wasn't essentially like this, but it was like a hook and ladder.
Yeah.
They're throwing it around, and they just threw it right to a Patriots defender, ran it back for a touchdown, game over.
Tough. So that could have been a curtain call and a mistake of day all mixing one.
Yeah, it is. But I also have a curtain call.
Okay.
Brought to you by?
Curtain call is brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
And?
Me.
And
Me.
Burrow is back in the news again.
All-time good guy.
All-time good guy. So Jake Browning, who is absolutely balling.
I'm so mad at myself. I do a weekly FanDuel for like one of my buddies back in Lafayette, and I had him as my quarterback.
Ballsy play.
On there, right? Because I wanted to add Jamar Chase as a receiver, which he didn't have a bunch of yards, but I was going to put Browning as my quarterback because he was going to cheaper play. Ended up not doing it and putting Brock Purdy, which was fine, but Browning had a better day.
Yeah, that man just made himself so much money to whether it be he's on a Matt Flynn trajectory.
If he keeps doing this, but if he keeps doing it through the course of the year,
somebody's going to sign him.
More than Matt Flynn, though, because Matt Flynn did it in like mop-up season duty.
Well, when he came in for Aaron Rodgers and threw for the Packers.
I know, but the game, but like it was like the end of the season, and it wasn't like you were playing, like they already made the playoffs. The Bengals were under 500. They've won 2 straight to go above 500, which is impressive.
But Jake Browning, obviously not the first man on the roster. Can't afford a suite, said so himself, but Joe Burrow was able to gift him a suite. And this is the family.
Very expensive. So Joe Burrow was nice enough, gave him some tickets so they didn't have to sit up in the cold. We're all from California, so I'm used to it.
Jake Browning's got a good personality to him, too. He's very confident.
Much more excited in the box, but it's awesome to have him here.
That's a good backup to have right there.
No doubt.
I like
No doubt. And you're naive to think that he hadn't learned a lot from Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Joe's still there.
Because he's the way he's operating his offense looks very Joe Burrow-esque. I'm not saying he's as good as Joe, but like
if you squint.
Yeah. Good for Jake, man.
How much fun?
Good for him.
Good for him. Great curtain call.
I'll give you the next curtain call because this one is just – I don't think that you could sit at home and think of a better situation to go to. Like, imagine if you built a Fortune 500 company
I don't even think winning the lottery would be.
No. And they said, hey, we'll give you the golden parachute to retire early and get on out of here. And you just get this big lump sum of money up front. Like, that's great too. But could you imagine sitting at home, being done with your profession, and for some reason you're still making 8 figures a year?
$68 million.
So my curtain call goes to Shohei Ohtani, who signed this 10-year, $700 million deal. Details start to come out this year. 68 of those annual 70 is going to be deferred from the years 2034 to 2043. $68 million a year of those 20.
So everybody's talking about the Bonilla deferred money.
This is Shohei money.
Times
34. He was like $2 million a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, he's going to get paid $2 million a year this year in contract money. I'm sure he will be making a boatload more in endorsements and money off the field. And the Dodgers are somehow going to be able to find a way to go and put a ton more money into the rest of this construction of the team, and that's going to happen. But my curtain call is to Shohei, because I think we would all love to be sitting on our couch with our feet up, fat and happy, and still be making 8 figures from something you did 10 years ago.
And here's the deal. Shohei goes out there. They won a World Series with him there, right? All that's going to do is value the team more. They're going to make more money. They're going to be able to maybe take some of that money that they in excess, put that aside, do something to hold that for, hey, this is deferred money.
There
Very
so many
smart
ways.
deal for both sides. I think that's very smart on Shohei. He's like, I don't need all that money right now.
And
let's do this. Like, oh, what about investing it? No.
Sidebar on it
Wait.
too. If I'm correct, which I think I am, I think I saw somewhere. Actually, not I think. My sources have told me that this deferred money, Cali won't be taxed.
That's what I mean. So he's not taxed if he's in California. He's not in California. So
Won't be working in California at
Right.
the time. Cali won't be taxing the deferred money.
that's what I was gonna say too. So that's the other part of it.
Lovely.
That's so smart.
So smart. So now you're getting taxed on the $2 million in California tax.
Gonna be
$68 million.
Might have a roommate.
Depends on where he's at. Ain't gonna be in Cali. I can promise you that, Coach.
Because when you saw that the tax money that came out when the contract was reported, it was,
68-38, or 70-38.
yeah, the deal was worth like $398 million after it was all said and done with taxes. But with the deferred money,
Not so much.
not so much anymore. I'm hiding it under the mattress.
Great move, but both parties.
Oh, and then everybody that is not a Dodgers fan was like, this should be illegal. Because they're going to be able to now, they have money to spend on more free agents because of the deferred money. So
Not anything new. People can do it. Teams just don't do it, or players don't want it.
Right.
One of the two. It's part of the negotiations. You can structure a deal however you want. Smart. Good for him.
Dodgers about to be good for a long time.
Yep. They've been good for a long time. Will continue to be good for a long time. They will continue to be the Dodgers.
And that was the leak that had people thinking he was going to sign with the Dodgers was Pablo Torre, for I guess the Lebatard Network now, said that my sources tell me the reason that you haven't heard of what Shohei's dog's name is because it's connected to the team that he's always liked. And Mina Khan's like, well, Dodger's a great dog name. And they're like, Dodger is a great dog name. And so it comes out he signed with the Dodgers.
And people thought they were tracking his plane,
No, to Toronto.
but they were not. They were tracking, if you've seen the hit television show, Shark Tank, Herjavec, the guy who's on there, was his private plane that they were tracking. He was in Toronto. So all these whole plane tracker things, let's
Pump the brake. I think plane tracking season has ended. It was a great run.
Great run. But good for him. All right, my curtain call. Part of it was the DeVito agent. Let's get away from that. I feel like people are going to think that I'm a huge Zach Wilson guy. I do.
You just have a heart.
I have a heart, and I feel bad for the kid. I don't care what call me. I feel bad for the dude. He's had a tough go at it. I don't think the Jets have done him any favors. They put him back in the starting.
After he was pretty adamant about not.
Well, I think that was also rumor. Like, there's a lot of things that come around New York and around him that were negative, whether he did it or not, and it was just a lot. Well, he gets to start against Houston, who is a winning team, who has been very impressive throughout the course of the year. They have beat some really good teams. Jets, not so much. He has the best game of his career in this game. In the weather, it's just 27 of 36 passing, 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and they win the game. Like,
you can't kill him.
Like, dude, that is the resiliency that he has shown throughout the course of these last year and a half has been pretty impressive.
Got
and
a
like,
little fuck you in him.
Yeah, you got to give the guy his flowers. Like, and his comments were like, "What are they gonna do? What's the worst thing? They're gonna bench me again? Fine. Like, I've done it. I've gone through all of it.
I'm gonna go play ball.
I firmly believe he's gonna come out on better front. Like, he's gonna come out on the other side. And he's gonna be a really good quarterback at some point in his career because of all the stuff that he's gone through right now. He figures it. I mean, he's got the talent, right? If he figures it out a little bit, he's like, nothing can rattle me. Like, I've been crushed.
Hit the bottom and bounced twice.
Yeah. Like, think about what they did to Mark Sanchez, and he never recovered from it.
3 AFC Championship games.
They did it to this kid his first year as a starting quarterback, and he keeps throwing
Then he
punches.
comes into a year where he's not supposed to play at all, gets thrust into the biggest Monday night game in the history of the Jets, it feels like, or at least in the last 15 years, where it's Aaron Rodgers running out with the American flag. 4 plays later, Zach, you're up. Like, I was firmly ready to put this dip in and watch this game.
Tell you what, I don't know, they don't have the odds yet, but odds of them winning a Super Bowl next year, I mean, they're going to get a pretty high pick. You're going to have A-Rod as the quarterback.
Offensive line.
Like, they're going to be good. You're going to have a good backup. Zach Wilson's going to be a great backup. He has the experience of doing it, and you're going to at least have another year of learning. So hopefully he can finish the season off the way he had that game, the way he's kind of played last week, and kind of turns his career around. So I like good stories, and I like to see him succeed. You know, never wish anything bad on anybody, unlike Rodney Harrison.
That was so bad. Rodney used to. Oh man, that was bad.
Ooh-wee.
Did you have Christian Wilkins' first-time touchdown score?
No, that would have been a lot of money.
Did he just score a touchdown?
Pick 6.
Got their defense. I'll take it.
Wow.
Oh no, Siler, 92. I thought it was 91.
Yep, I'll take that too.
He was not on the board.
Great,
I'll take that
great day today. Great show. Nice little.
Have you been watching these Hard Knocks?
No.
I watched the first 2 of them.
They're awesome.
I need to watch it.
It really is. It's probably one of the better Hard Knocks. Like the Packers one was great, but McDaniel's just on another level. He's basically a player.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I've never watched an in-season one.
Me either. The Cardinals was obviously a terrible choice last year.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's bored.
Yeah.
This is like they feel like they're cooking up something special.
I'm gonna watch it. I haven't done it. I've heard good things about it. That's all we got for today. Today was an easy, light show. We're gonna just have some fun through December until we get to baseball season. We'll have a lot more women's basketball conversation.
You gotta have Schwartzy on.
Schwartzy will come on. And they almost, it was tied 28-28
That
at
was
halftime.
almost our fault.
So that's Joe's fault.
Then,
It's only them right there.
Yep. And then they ended up winning by 30. So they ended up turning it around. But for a minute there, it was a little tight.
Levis.
That's all we got. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate the love and support. Please like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. What do we have for it? How many to go?
Oh, haven't checked. Should we check on Wednesday?
Let's check on Wednesday.
Tease them.
Let's check on Wednesday. Get us to 5,000 subscribers. That'd be nice. Please press the thumbs up button.
I get a bonus.
Yeah. Please press the thumbs up button. It does us a lot of good. If you can't watch us tonight, you listen to us anywhere you get your pods. We appreciate all the love and support. We appreciate all the sponsors. Had a little too many Heineken Silvers this weekend.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Wednesday.
I'm back. I mean, look, I rallied.
Proud of you.
I rallied.
It's about
So,
the team.
It's about the team. Appreciate. Can't do this alone. Do this with the team. So, okay, that's making me dizzy.
The team.
Yes. All right, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Enjoy your doubleheader football games. Keep flipping back and forth. Maybe do the whole, if you have YouTube TV, maybe do the whole split screen thing. We'll be back Wednesday live in studio from 6 to 8 p.m. Ask Mikey and Mitch. We'll have some guests on the show. When we get here, we won't just be listening to me, Lloyd, and Jared talk. We appreciate that, though. Maybe you do. But enjoy the rest of your Monday. See you on Wednesday. Peace.
Goodbye. Jared.